For the latest in strategic affairs, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the bell icon for updates.
Hello and welcome to StratNewsGlobal. On 15th of August this year, the 75th anniversary of India's independence, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about an Indian designed, developed and manufactured gun called the ATAGS, which fired several rounds in celebration from the Red Fort. So what is ATAGS all about and what does it bring to the Indian Army in terms of firepower? Because artillery is one of the mainstays of the Indian Army as it was proved in the Kargil War. That's the topic that we are going to discuss on this week's Ask Nitin. I'm Nitin Gokhale. So what exactly is ATAGS? ATAGS full form, ATAGS, is actually Advanced Towed Artillery Gun System, developed by the Defence Research and Development Organization, which is India's Defence and Research Development arm, and of course, two development partners in Indian defence companies, Bharat Forge and Tata Advanced Systems Limited. These two industrial partners actually helped DRDO develop and then bring to actualization the manufacturing ability of India to have this gun system for the Indian Army. So as I mentioned, 23 years ago in Kargil, the Bofors gun played a major role in India winning the war against Pakistan in the heights of Kargil, Dras and Batalik. Since then, of course, India has been trying to induct more artillery guns, modern artillery guns into the Indian Army. But for one reason or the other, either complaints from rival companies, corruption charges and reluctance of the officials and political executive to take a firm decision has prevented India or Indian Army and the Indian artillery from inducting fresh guns. Fortunately, in 2015-16, the current government decided that it wants to design, develop and manufacture an Indian-made gun. And therefore, DRDO was entrusted with this task of developing this gun called ATAGS, which is Advanced Towed Artillery Gun System, with 155 mm 52 caliber configuration. And the initial range that was thought about, where the gun can target an adversary position or a target in the adversary's possession at about 38 to 40 kilometers range. After 4 or 5 years of development and then slowly looking at the productionization of the gun with two Indian companies, as I mentioned, Bharat Forge and Tata Advanced Systems. At one point in time, Bharat Forge made gun has actually proved the range to be much higher than expected. It is fired way beyond the 40 kilometer range. The target achieved by Bharat Forge guns have gone up to 48 kilometers, which is considered a world record in many ways. So in that sense, the engineering skills, the manufacturing skills of the Indian defense majors like Bharat Forge and Tata Advanced Systems has proved their caliber. They have also now come to a stage where this can be manufactured on a large mass scale required by the Indian government. There is the Indian Army's artillery modernization program, which talks about inducting various types of artillery guns, towed guns, there are wheeled guns, there are guns which have been imported from South Korea, the K9 Vajra, and there is of course the ultralight howitzer imported from the United States called the M777. But over and above that, India needed to have its own gun which can be manufactured in various configurations. And what is the advantage of an Indian-made manufactured or Indian manufactured gun? It is a modern gun system. It has extended range capability, achieving a maximum range of 48 plus kilometers, as I mentioned. It can be further enhanced to 60 to 70 kilometers with rocket-assisted projectiles, and 100 plus kilometers with guided projectiles is what the concept says. Whether it will achieve that, we will have to wait and watch as it develops after the first lot of ATAGs are delivered to the Indian Army. It is designed to be user-friendly. It has what is called the ordnance and recoil system of the gun is designed for higher volume and pressure, and the bi-modular charge system Z7 can take higher pressure, which means the rate of fire of the gun is much higher than any other existing gun in the world today. All electric drive technology has been configured in the gun, which is again a first anywhere in the world. The automation enables 5 rounds, auto multiple round simultaneous impact as they call it. And of course, the muzzle velocity radar and a ballistic computer to carry out computation online has been incorporated in this gun, according to what details that we have available. It is lighter than many other guns. It is actually 2 tons lighter than most other guns in the world, which means these guns can be towed to high altitudes along the northern borders, either in Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, or the Ladakh area, or sometimes they can be deployed there without any problem. They can be, in fact, according to the DRDO and the manufacturers, they have tested their accuracy of these guns. It has a higher range, as I mentioned, faster deployment time and faster turnaround time. The tests have been carried out in high altitude areas of Sikkim for both firing and for maneuverability along the narrow roads that take you to the northern areas along the China or the Tibet border. So that is where I think this gun really scores over others. More than anything else, this gun, when the orders are given to the Indian manufacturers, more particularly to Bharat Forge, the Pune-based company, who are the largest forging company in the world and who have manufacturing capability which can upscale the production rate whenever required. And that is where I think the strength of this gun and this program lies, that as artillery gun manufacturing is coming down the world over. Switzerland and Sweden used to be, rather than Switzerland, it used to be Sweden, which used to be the home of artillery manufacturing. They are downscaling their manufacturing capability. And India is likely to become, has the potential to become the center of the artillery manufacturing across the world. That is what India is aiming at, because ultimately the Indian government wants to export defense platforms to friendly countries. There is a target of defense exports of about 35,000 crores or $5 billion by 2025. And if these guns get inducted into the Indian Army, there is no reason why countries in Africa, Southeast Asia, and even South America would want these gun systems from India. So, India has the potential to become the epicenter of the artillery gun development and manufacturing, because it has the requisite capabilities of manufacturing in terms of engineering skills, manufacturing skills, sheer the machines and the skills that companies like Bharat Forge and Tata's have. Therefore, if India has to gain the first position in artillery manufacturing, the Indian Army needs to give these two companies the go-ahead to manufacture the guns that it has already tested and certified that it does meet most of the parameters. If there are some tweaks required, I am sure the DRDO and these two companies, along with the Indian artillery officers and officials, are going to get that tweaks done so that India can then progress on this artillery modernization system. How this is going to help the Indian Army? It is going to help the Indian Army because India's biggest adversary now is China. And along the northern borders, there is much more artillery needed than previously deployed. Therefore, the urgency and the emphasis on manufacturing the ATAGS which can be given a name if necessary, but even knowing that gun as ATAGS has now become a very popular name amongst Indian public after the 15th of August firing from the Red Fort or during the Independence Day function. Therefore, I think after LCA manufacturing that is begun in India, now INS Vikrant, which has been sort of commissioned into the Indian Navy, India's first indigenously designed, developed and manufactured aircraft carrier. India is now only the fifth or the sixth country to have that capability. To have your own artillery gun system is going to be a major achievement for the Indian Armed Forces, for India's defense R&D, and the decision makers who are now stressing on Atmanirbharta in defense, which is self-reliance in defense, and which is also the motto of our sister concern, the sister website, bharatshakti.in. So therefore, I wanted to flag this big achievement, which has been talked about by various people. But on StratNewsGlobal, we had not touched the subject so far. Therefore, this topic chosen for Ask Nitin. I am going to stop here. We have, as usual, a couple of guests joining us from different parts of the country to have a comment on the Indian artillery program or the ATAGS, and also ask some questions and queries which probably I'll be able to answer if they are not too technical. So I have my first guest, a former artillery officer, a gunner, who obviously doesn't need any details of what the artillery means for the Indian Army's capabilities. But we certainly can hear from him of what he thinks about the ATAGS and what ATAGS can bring to the table. And then, of course, if there are any queries, if I am able to answer, I will. Please go ahead, sir.
First of all, this initiative of going into such a big concept and making such a tremendous, awesome, powerful howitzer, I see from the technical data that from -3 to +75 is the kind of elevation it has. So I have a lot of questions in my mind, but I basically wanted to know very majorly, because ordnance is one, and the recoil mechanism for such guns have to be really, really strong. And my doubt is, I've seen a little bit of this footage here and there. Does it have the same wherewithal like the buffers, where it can self-propel itself into a platform, or it is the trail types, because it's got trails, big trails? That I wanted to know. I want to know something on its trunnion, its balancing, its recuperator.
Well, Colonel Peter, it's difficult for somebody like me who's a non-technical person to give you that. But I'll tell you what the features that this gun has according to the DRDO and the others. So the muzzle velocity that they talk about is 985 meters per second. So I think that's something that they've spoken about. They have a muzzle velocity radar and a ballistic computer to carry out online computation. So which means the software is...
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's a very good. That's a new thing.
That's a new thing. Exactly. The range that they have achieved so far is about 48 kilometers, which is again supposed to be a world record. And
48 in normal altitude means if these guns are deployed in high altitude in rarefied atmosphere, then the ranges will be much more.
They will be. In fact, they have spoken about 60 kilometers plus, and then with projectiles and others trying to develop it in the second phase to going up to 70 plus kilometers. So that's in the future. Right now, they are talking only about 48 kilometers in normal atmosphere, like you said. We've seen it in Kargil that the guns Bofors actually went beyond their known ranges. So I'm sure what you're talking about is known to many people, that the rarefied atmosphere makes the range much longer. The other thing that they're speaking about here, and you will know those zones, they're talking about rates of fire burst, 5 rounds in 60 seconds in zone 7, which I think is another very vital feature which they claim that no other gun has.
five rounds in 60 seconds air burst.
Yes, fire burst. And intense is 10 rounds in 2.5 minutes in zone 7.
I don't think if I'm sure at least 80% of what they say will come true. I mean, no, I'm not. I want 110%, but I have
That's right.
seen how they claim mileage on a car. So let's be a
Yes.
little conservative in our figures. But even
No, no, of course. I agree on that. I agree on that. The weight, for your information, is about 18 tons, which is, I think, quite good. And mobility is 12 kilometers per hour cross country when it's in a towed, configuration. And mobility on roads, self-propelled.
the prime mover will be, it's already made, or they're going to have something made by DRDO, or it is one of those off the shelves from Leyland, like they.
No, no, made by the DRDO itself, prime mover. So it's integral. And mobility on roads, self-propelled, is at about 7 kilometers on desert tracks, which also is not bad, I think.
No, what I was trying to say was, even conservatively, if you reduce that capability, even if it is 80%, the kind of impact
Yeah.
it will have at the target end will be. I don't think anything will be left to the bugger out there to give a fight to the.
Yeah, I suppose so. But that's artillery. That is what artillery meant for. Yes, you were a battery commander. You said yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was a battery commander in Kargil in operations. I commanded a rocket battery there. So
Where? Which sector? I was there in Kargil reporting the war that time.
I was all over. I was there in one troop was in Pandras and one was only one rocket battery was
Right.
deployed. So I was,
Okay.
shuffling between the troop at Hambotingla and the troop at what do you call it as.
Pandras.
So we were
Right.
getting
Pandras is, of
almost.
course.
We got 26, 27 on the range, whereas the effective range was 20.4 on some targets.
Yeah. So the rarefied atmosphere helps. But thank you for joining. Nevertheless, we will certainly have an occasion to have a discussion, longer discussion on the technical and other aspects of not just this gun, but also about the importance of artillery. Thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, sir, and all the best. It's a good initiative. We're very proud that we Indians have come up to make such equipment. I think it's just going to be some time when we'll start exporting such equipment outside.
I'm sure we are going to do that. Thank you very much. So let me move on to my next guest here. Shantam is joining us from Pune. And Shantam, go ahead with your question.
Very good afternoon, sir. My name is Shantanu Gupta, and currently I'm doing masters from Symbiosis School of International Studies. Sir, my question is regarding that as government of India is aiming for defense export of worth $5 billion in 2025. So, like LCA Tejas, will the ATAGS will be exported to the friendly foreign countries in near future?
Indeed, Shantam, the plan is to export the guns once they are inducted into the Indian Army in sufficient numbers. The first right for the guns is, of course, the Indian Army. And once the stabilization of manufacturing happens, when both the companies are got their assembly lines moving smoothly, there will be attempts to export the gun. I'm sure there will be a lot of demand. In fact, in my previous question and answer session with another guest, I mentioned this and during my opening remarks also, that the gun system in India has the potential to become the epicenter of artillery guns manufacturing because elsewhere the gun manufacturing is really going down. And therefore, India has a great chance of becoming a leading player in artillery manufacturing going forward and achieving the target of, contributing to the target, meeting the target of $5 billion worth of defense exports. You have another question? You can go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to go on to speak about anything else.
No, sir.
Right?
No, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Shantam, for joining. And viewers, you can join like these two had joined and discussed the features of the artillery gun system that India is manufacturing after having designed and developed it indigenously. We will have this program every week. Different topics will be chosen, and we will give you adequate notice, and of course have you come on board, speaking to me live, at least while we are recording, and then have this program broadcast or uploaded on YouTube at 7 p.m. on Saturday, every Saturday. So this is what I wanted to flag this time, having seen what the ATAGS did on 15th of August when the Prime Minister was speaking from the Red Fort. This was important to flag and highlight the achievement of both DRDO and Indian defense manufacturers like Bharat Forge and Tata Advanced Systems Limited. For the moment, I'm going to stop. But of course, do keep watching Strat News Global. You know where to subscribe to us if you haven't already done. And if you have done the subscription of our YouTube channel, do spread the word to your friends, family, and acquaintances. And keep sending feedback, write your comments. Also suggest topics that I could take up on the Ask Nitin program every Saturday. But until then, it's goodbye.